Well, hey everybody, John Ritlin here, and this is Which Was Worse, episode 14, more badly booked title reigns. Look, not everything is going to be a badly booked title reign video, at least as far as this series goes, but I came up with a bunch of these while I was at work one day, so that's why you're getting quite a few that have somewhat similar themes and everything. But if you're unfamiliar with the series, I take stuff that's got some similarities, compare them, decide which is worse. Which was worse, hence the title. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about Dean Ambrose's WWE title reign and Bray Wyatt's WWE title reign. I could just end the video right now by saying they're both shit and just end it because they were pretty shit. But let's dive into why they were shit. And I'm not knocking either talent. I'm actually knocking creative or the lack of creative that was behind them. But let's take a look at what led up to Dean Ambrose's WWE title reign. So, Dean Ambrose has that match. Well, he first, has that match against Triple H at Roadblock, end of the line. Well, or it was just I think it was just Roadblock initially because it was a Roadblock Network special and then the Roadblock pay-per-view at the end of the year. It was weird to have two events of the same name in the same year, but whatever. So Dean Ambrose has that match with Triple H. He should have beat him right there. We should have just gone with Ambrose versus, Ambrose versus Reigns, because that probably would have made it a little bit better, even if it would have just totally squashed Dean, and his first title reign would have meant nothing. But he didn't beat Triple H. And he had that horrible match with Brock Lesnar where I don't care what anybody says. I'm not saying Dean was necessarily motivated in there, but who the fuck can blame him? Brock didn't want to fucking do anything. He was going to go back to the UFC for a little bit, or at least that one-off against Mark Hunt. And yes, I said Hunt. But from there, he failed around, didn't really do all that much. The Ambrose Asylum match. Yeah, that was shit. The Ambrose Asylum match, right there, he should have just said, fuck it, I'm done. And I wouldn't have blamed him. But he did win Money in the Bank. And later in the night, you had Rollins and Reigns have their match. And Reigns got beat, which surprised me. And Rollins beat him pretty just cleanly and held the title. And you're like, what the fuck happened? And it turned out that Roman Reigns had a wellness policy violation, whatever the fuck it was, and was suspended for 30 days. But we didn't know that at the time, so we're like, holy fuck. Reigns entered as champion, now Rollins is champion. And Ambrose still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. But not for long, because then his music hit, and then he came down, and he cracked Rollins over the head, and Ambrose cashed in. 30 Ds, 1, 2, 3. All three Shield members held the title on that same night. Weird. Wrestling is weird at times, but big pop. Dean Ambrose is the WWE champion. And then they have that Shield three-way at Battleground, I believe, Battleground 2016. Not a bad match. Dean was on SmackDown. He was drafted in Superstar Shakeup, not number 1. Number 2, the WWE Champion was not drafted number 1. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But then he has a feud with Dolph Ziggler in a match that should have been much fucking better than it was. Now, the build was fine. It was a bit of a weird choice to have Dolph be Dean Ambrose's first opponent. Now that he was all separated from the Shield and stuff like that. It was just weird. And the match was pedestrian. Now, to be fair, if I remember the placement of this card correctly, it went on after Styles and Cena, which pretty much exhausted the fucking crowd. So that right there might be a bit of a reason, but also the match was just, there was no fire to it. The build was fine, but then Dean really didn't do all that much. I mean, he won, he retained, cool, and then Dolph would go on to have his feud with The Miz over the Intercontinental title in a much, 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 much better feud. But then Dean would enter a feud with AJ Styles and lose the title at Backlash. So Dean had a great cash-in and a great win, a great moment where he won the title. Decent triple threat with the Shield, or, with his members of the Shield, Rollins and Reigns. And then, had that match with Ziggler and then lost it to AJ Styles. So it was like 3 months. And it was probably one of the most boring WWE title reigns that happened in a number of years. Whether Ambrose is motivated or not, whether he wanted to be the company guy or not, doesn't matter. He still got to be WWE champion. That's great. He did get to have a lengthy fucking program with Styles afterwards, which I didn't mind a rematch. But it's like, what was it? You had Ambrose, Cena, and Styles at like No Mercy, and it kicked off the show because at the time they had the, the presidential debate, and I say that in the biggest fucking quotations possible because it was a joke, and the elected officials in this country are a goddamn joke. That's the one bit of serious time I'll have here. But Ambrose then, still feuding with AJ. And feuded with him in the TLC. And then that happened. And then, then he became Intercontinental Champion and feuded with Baron Corbin. They really just pushed Ambrose further down the card. He did get injured later in 2017 and came back in 2018. Just before SummerSlam 2018, and had the heel turn no one asked for. Well, take that back. People asked for it, but then they fucked it up by him getting shots in the ass and all that stuff and all the friggin' bullshit, instead of just being a fucking, psycho. Just being Jon Moxley, just being a version of that, being just a lunatic, which, I mean, I know that he can be fairly low-key and that kind of stuff, and I'm not talking, not that one, not the one from Impact, not the one from MLW, but Ambrose, being able to be a bit of an unhinged heel would have been nice, but they didn't do that. So pretty much his WWE title is a blip on the radar. Except Bray Wyatt's WWE title reign is a fucking blip on the radar. Bray Wyatt for months and months and months, and these two kind of tie in together because they had that feud in 2014 where, you had Bray's projected image and then he attacked, horrible special effects, and he attacks Ambrose. And then they had the exploding TV at TLC 2014, I believe. And they feuded after that. I mean, it's like they feuded for a little bit after that. But from there, it was just like, they just pilled around with Bray. Bray did suffer an ankle injury and like right after WrestleMania 32, I believe. I think it was the Raw after Mania. Suffered an ankle injury either there or sometime soon after. And I think it might have been on the European tour. He suffered an ankle injury at WrestleMania 31, but still... seemed like they were going somewhere with him. And then, they didn't really do much with him. Didn't do much with him at the Royal Rumble. I mean, even though they kind of had the whole teasing thing of Bray and Orton as tag team champions and what was going to happen. Well, no, actually, let's see. They had that going on at the end of 2016, and then American Alpha beat them. Remember American Alpha? When they still had, Jason Jordan wrestling before the unfortunate neck injury that seems to have ended his career. But anyway... Bray then, shockingly, he's in the Elimination Chamber matches after Cena had beaten Styles at Royal Rumble, held it for about 2 weeks. Bray Wyatt shockingly became WWE Champion. I was hoping it would happen. And I'm like, great, this is going to be a big thing. And then it wasn't. It was fucking shit. They turned it to shit. And I don't understand why. You had Bray Wyatt as champion. Shout out to @JJF Rants on here. Because he commented on one of the videos at one point, and it's something that I had agreed with, and something that I'd pseudo-pitched the idea. You had Bray and Orton have their program in the Mania. You should have thrown Harper in there. Harper could have been the one to win the title. They could have had Harper win the title. I mean, I don't know if Harper would have won the title, but that would have at least been something to do with him. Instead, take him off fucking TV because he was getting over. How dare he fucking get over? Yeah, that still fucking bothers me. And it bothers me what they did with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should have been champion. Let's see, Elimination Champion. Should have been champion until at least Backlash. Maybe Money in the Bank. He fucking deserved it. He took all the bullshit booking that they kept giving him. All that bullshit booking. And nope, they just threw it away after 7 weeks. And gave it to Randy Orton. So Randy Orton could give it to fucking Jinder Mahal. Look, Jinder was just casting a role. He did whatever he fucking could. I mean, including trying to cover Nakamura during a fucking segment, not a match. Goddamn idiot. Roided up freak. Sorry. There ain't no way there aren't some kind of roids involved. No matter how much of a clean diet and clean eating you have. But, digress. Bray Wyatt deserved a longer reign. He did. It was just given to him as a placeholder. You should have just had Cena versus Orton at the show. You just should have. Granted, they were going with Cena, Nikki versus Miz and Maurice. It went nowhere. Except that they give us the Miz and Maurice mocking Cena and Nikki, and that was great shit. That was about the only good thing to come out of that feud. But Bray Wyatt deserved a longer title reign. I gotta say this. Dean's is only slightly better because at least he got to hold it for 3 months. Bray's should have been, done a whole lot better. I mean, and think about what happened afterwards. They had the House of Horrors match, which was terrible. Not like Chamber of Horrors. House of Horrors was worse. But then with Bray, they really didn't fucking do anything with him after that. It's like, and they had him feud with Finn Balor later in the year, and they had what looked like Bray dressing up in drag, and then the meningitis thing that all, cut through the Raw roster, and cut through like everybody else, knocked a bunch of people out of the No Mercy card. So thank God we didn't have to see Bray in drag. But since then, they've just barely used him. And he's barely been on TV since like September of last year. And fuck, by the time this video goes up, who fucking knows? They might actually do something with the goddamn bullshit vignettes where they might as well give Bray his fucking walking papers, hand puppets, all that shit. And a freaking creepy doll page, yeah. Yeah, I don't fucking get it. I just don't fucking get it at all. I don't see how they can have a positive out of this. Somebody threw out the idea of Nikki Cross being Sister Abigail. Okay, sure. Except Nikki could be used better than that. Yeah, I hate what they did to Bray. I hate what they did to both of these guys. I'm only ranking Dean just barely above Bray because they were both title reigns that should have been used better. Dean at least got to hold it for almost 3 months, or close to it. Bray got to hold his for not even 2 months. And he won it in shocking fashion, and it was one of the limpest matches of WrestleMania 33. All the spoopy imagery and all that stuff, the maggots and all that bullshit projected on the mats that a lot of the live crowd could only see if they looked at the screens. Which that's totally what you want to fucking do while you're at a live wrestling show, is look at screens instead of looking at the fucking ring. And I get it, big venue and all that, but yeah, these both pissed me off quite a bit. I probably am not going to revive Times in Wrestling that pissed me off. I think 25 or 26 parts, whatever I did, or the Redux, is good enough. But who knows? I might do that at some point. I might revive it just for a one-off or whatever. But these are two things that really annoyed me. Dean deserved better. Bray deserved better. Creative should have done right by them. But they did not do the thing. So anyway, that is what I have to say. What do you have to say? Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.